Right back in the SHTF garden, and today we're going to be harvesting sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are one of my personal favorites for an SHTF crop because you can eat the leaves if you need to, although I'm not harvesting for leaves. You can obviously eat the tubers. They're a little bit more nutritious for a nutrition profile. They store for a long time, a very long time, longer than regular potatoes. They're basically everything you can really ask for. A big tuber that you can eat, nutritious greens. The main downside to them is you need a fairly warm climate, at least during the summer, to grow them. So everything's kind of a mess here. I had gotten sick with COVID. That's why I haven't uploaded very much in so long. But I am recovered and trying to get back into it, although my garden took a huge hit because I wasn't taking care of it. My neighbor sprayed some Roundup, killed a bunch of my plants, and so it's been one bad news after another here in the garden. But I'm hoping sweet potatoes will be one of the exceptions, and will be working out pretty well. So I've got sweet potatoes in like different pots here. We're going to dump these out in the wheelbarrow. We're going to pull them out of the soil, fill them up in this apple basket, which hopefully I can get a decent ways full. Then we'll talk about storing them and saving a few for slips for next year. So alright, let's get started dumping. Let's just grab one of these and dump this one out. And I can pull all these. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Right there. And I haven't really been taking care of these because I said I had been sick. I had been traveling before I got sick. And so I really haven't been taken care of very much. And like I said, these leaves are edible, so I could harvest all these leaves and cook them down like spinach or something too if I wanted to. I've eaten a few fresh to try it out, but that's not my main purpose in growing sweet potatoes. So let's see what we got. Still got a little bit of that left over in there. Take these vines out. They'll probably end up in my compost. We do another video on a compost tumbler I got. It was on sale 50% off at Walmart. So we're going to put that in action as well. You can see where the tubers came off, or the vine started off this one. So we're going to go ahead and see what else we got. And these sweet potatoes will grow and grow. Think how long I could leave them in there longer, but I really don't want to leave them in there longer. So we need a good 4 or 5 months of warm, hot weather to reach a good size. Now this one didn't have that many in it, but we're going to see with the next. Okay, I grabbed one from right there. So I'm doing this one-handed with a camera, digital camera. A little difficult, it's bowed out some. This makes me hope we're going to get some decent ones in these little pots. That's a pretty good success with these little pots. Oh, look at the size of that. That's broken off from that one. Look at the size of these tubers. That's like a 2-for-1 deal. Tuber for one deal. Oh yeah, that's nice. That looks a little damaged on that side. I'll throw that in the roots and all, because I'll be cleaning it out once they've had some time to dry up. Let's see if we got any more in here. Soil looks nice. Makes me want to add some compost, fertilizer to it, throw something else in it, but it's late in the season for where I'm at. One reason why I'm harvesting these now is that we've got, if I'm lucky, a month till last frost. Probably not that long. I just broke one of my pots. Alright. Trying to get this pot out of here. It's stuck to the ground. It's falling apart. Let's see one of the older pots I have. It'll have to be tossed and replaced because the plastic is just crumbling. So let me go ahead and pick that up with 2 hands. Okay, I got it in there. You can see where it's tearing the pot up when I was trying to pick it up. That pot's pretty much toast. But it does have a nice bit of foliage on it. So, like I said, I could cook these. It's almost tempting to at least try it. A bit of annoying grass. This one was heavy too. This one's just got some slips coming off of it. Let's dump it and see what we get. Like a tripod or something. One of these days I'll up my camera game, but it's a small time right now. This poor pot. Seen better days. Alright. Oh wow, look at this one. It's split in a few places. It's also growing. Slips, I'll pinch those off. Hope it'll store. If not, it'll be eaten up. Okay. Getting some nice tubers. This thing's a massive roots. It's heavy because it's got sandy clay. I had to use because it was when I did some construction right in front of the house, putting in a telephone pole. Dug a bunch of that stuff out, dumped it off, whatever they did with it, put it right in front of my house, and left it there. I asked them about if they were scooping it up and stuff. They were like, "Oh yeah, we'll get to it." They never did. So I just took and threw it, mixed it with some. There's a worm. Hopefully it's still alive. Didn't look it. So I took and mixed it with some peat moss and some compost, and added it in to my garden. So it's kind of a heavy clay. One that has a bit more clay than the rest, but it still grew some nice tubers in it. So I'll probably end up mixing this into a garden bed once it's mixed in and stirred up and diffuse some of this clay. But the clay still has lots of nutrients in it, so it's just not as water retentive. Alright, let's see about more pots. Okay, dumped out that into a garden bed. Let's do another pot. Then I'll just skip to the end, show the amount I was able to get. A mess. A weed mess of vines. Oh wow. This one's loaded for bear. Alright. Let's see if I can get this up here into the yeah, some of these pots have seen better days. We've been using these for years. You never know, I might cut that off and use it again next year anyway. Alright. I'll pinch this off. Add to my pot. I let them grow a little too long if they're starting to grow their own shoots. Yeah. At least with the greens being edible, it shouldn't be as much of a danger as regular potatoes, but I'm going to double check that before I eat any of them. But alright, I'm going to go ahead and dump some more pots out and come back, because I still have a lot of pots left to go. Maybe I will end up filling up that basket. And that'd be pretty good. If I can get an apple basket full of sweet potatoes, I think I'd be pretty happy with that. And they store really well, like I said. Once these things are dried up and you leave them for about 2 weeks to cure, then you can put them somewhere. I just had them in a plastic bag once they were good and dry and cured, hanging on a doorknob in the kitchen. They were there for, after like a year, I tossed away the ones I didn't need. But that's because they were starting to grow in that bag. But other than that, these things are great when it comes to SHTF. Sweet potatoes are delicious, and apparently growing pretty well in these pots for me. So, alright, I want to show some of the progress I'm making. There's a lot of pot stuff. I think I had 15 pots and one slip I just put in the garden bed. Look at this monster. You can tell all these ones over here that are in all that overgrowth are getting a lot of good stuff, because look how it's bowed out. This pot. You can see them in there. It's bowed out pretty bad. So, you're real hassle to get this out. That's first world problems, right? Alright. Shook this thing loose. Let's look at the monsters we get on here. Look at that. Dust this off. That will damage the skins if possible. I have to weigh some of these. My scale only goes up to 11 pounds. So I'd have to weigh the sweet potatoes a little bit at a time and add it up. That's what I did for the regular potatoes. But I don't know. These have to set and dry and cure. So don't know if I'll be able to get around to doing that. But I certainly am getting a good yield. It's probably the best production I've had in all the garden. That's these sweet potatoes. Even when I was sick and I was gone and everything else. Not water, not fertilizing. I mean, I did it first at the beginning part of the year. And of course I put some dry granular fertilizer in there, which is a slow release. But I didn't take care of the things beyond that. And once I started recovering, everything was so overgrown, so like an impossible task. But I'm out here trying to salvage what can be salvaged. Some of these pots probably can't be, but you never know. Maybe let's put some pepper or something in that, or just throw it. Those pots are pretty cheap at the feed store, like $2. I think they were $2.50. Well, that was pre-pandemic. Maybe I should save them just in case I can't find any more. But if you're ever needing greens, if you couldn't go to the store, asteroid impact, pandemic, whatever, and you need the greens, nutrition, look no further than the humble sweet potato. And look at this. Here's my potato fork in comparison to this pile. Yeah, it's not working out as advertised. There we go. You can see in the background what's left of some cucumbers that just went nuts while I wasn't doing anything with them. So maybe I'll get some seeds out of them. Look at the size of this thing. But I think I have one more pot to go, and whatever's in that long trellis garden bed, if I can dig any out of there. Alright, so we'll be back in a minute. Alright, one more interruption. I pulled this one out. I had to stop and show this. Wow. It split this thing open. I wonder if that's one long potato. If it is, that's a massive potato. The biggest one I've ever seen. Hope they're so good. Looks like some damage. Let's get this thing out of here. Alright. This is the biggest sweet potato I have ever seen. I can't put my hand around it. Probably snapped it off into two. They're probably supposed to be two that grew together. But that is a monster of a sweet potato. Let's comparison to my hand. Makes me feel intimidated. So I'm just kidding. I couldn't help the jokes. Alright, but that is one massive sweet potato. We're going to have to wait. Alright. Apple basket. Which way the shadow get over there. Alright, apple basket full of sweet potatoes. It's actually a bit more than I expected, which I'm glad for that. And if y'all are wondering how much space I used to grow this, I had these little pots you get from the feed store. I don't think they say exactly what size they are, but they had 15 of those, I believe is what it was I planted. I had some volunteers growing over there in a pile of weeds and stuff that was using, that was basically just food scraps and stuff for compost. And I had one in my trellis bed, extra slip in there. 99% of all the potatoes came out of pots like that. The volunteers yielded one potato that I could find. There's probably more buried in the ground. The ground's hard as a rock over there. And I could only find one in the mess of grass that's overgrown my trellis bed, which I now have to weed at some point. I weeded the area. I found the one in hopes of finding more. I've only found one in there. So 2 potatoes came from other areas. The rest of that basket came from the 15 pots. And a small mountain of greens. Like, I don't even know, if you were to can this, I know greens shrink up a lot when you cook them down. But if you were to cook all this and can it, you'd get, I have no idea, but it'd be a lot. So it's a shame to waste that. I may cook a few to see how it tastes. I don't know. Depends how lazy I get. But I'm probably just going to throw this into my compost. So I got another video I want to make. I got a compost tumbler, 50% off at Walmart's end of the season sale. Unfortunately, it wasn't the Walmart next to me. It was a Walmart about half an hour from where I lived. Happened to run across them. They're normally $100. Got it for $50. And I've been waiting to unbox it and put it together and do a video on it. So I'm going to need some material to throw in there. Although this, I'm sure, will more than fill it up. And I'm not sure what I'll use for browns. I think I might have some old hay, or maybe I'll get some hay or something, or if I can find some leaves. But anyways, that'll be a separate video because I haven't even unboxed it yet. But these pots, and I've tried various containers and stuff, and these pots here seem to work the best for me so far. I'm still open to trying other things, but every year I grow at least 5, 6, 7 of these pots, and I get a pretty good yield of sweet potatoes out of that. Just a handful of pots. This year I doubled that to 15, or a little bit more than doubled to 15, because of our current supply chain problems and SHTF that's been going on around the country and around the globe. And so sweet potatoes being one of my favorite crops fall in that category for obvious reasons. You get the greens and you get the tubers. They take a while to grow though, 4 or 5 months. I think you probably start pulling them at 3 if you have a short growing season. Or if nothing else, if you just get greens, you can grow them for that too. And but you get some big gnarly tubers. They're not in the same family as regular potatoes. So even though they're called potatoes, these are not yams either, by the way. Yams is something totally different. Although in the United States they're called, a lot of people call them yams. But anyways, better nutritional profile slightly. Long-term storage. In fact, it's hard to get them to sprout sometimes to be able to grow more. So some of these came from slips I bought at Walmart. Some of these came from slips I grew myself. So I'm not sure which potatoes are which. They all look kind of the same. Oh, and one of course came from a volunteer. That was food scraps that was thrown in the compost area. Now I got this soil I'm going to throw back into a garden bed. Oh, look at that. They got slugs and stuff that came off from the bottom of my stuff. Y'all better run for the hills before birds find y'all. Anyways, I actually knocked over a pepper, so I'm going to keep that while I was doing this. But that's it. Sweet potato harvest 2021. So hopefully y'all keep growing on. Grow on and prosper. That's some cool slogan like that. Anyways, you know what to do. You know to share this channel, hopefully, so it can grow. There's very few people that watch any of the gardening stuff, so if you do like this kind of stuff, you know anybody else that likes it, go ahead and share it. Get them out there growing their own food. Season's just about over, but it's not too early to start planning for the next season. And if you do need seeds for something like cabbage, collard greens, those kind of things, they're biennial that take a long time to grow, now would be a good time to plant them. If you can overwinter them in your area, let them overwinter. Springtime comes, they'll go to seed. I did that earlier last year, and I got collard greens and cabbage seeds, and broccoli too. Anyways, I won't make this too long. Like, share, subscribe, notification bell. You know the thing. All right, have a good day.